For more than 6 months of my life, I ate lead, handled mysterious government substances, and drank moldy water. Unsurprisingly, after this, I felt like absolute dog shit. I had the worst brain fog imaginable. If it wasn't for Zeolites, I would be still stuck in a rut and you wouldn't have this YouTube channel. In Army basic training and the infantry school, you're going to shoot a lot of guns. And that means you're going to come in contact with a lot of heavy metals from the combustion dust from using these rounds. You're also going to use CLP to clean your rifle. CLP is cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. It's a liquid that you use to clean your weapons and also just as a lubricant to make sure your mechanism of the rifle works correctly. The actual formula for this is not published by the government, so we don't really know what's in there. But a common hypothesis is that it's liquidized Teflon. So I was in contact with liquidized Teflon and lead practically every day. Worst part is, oftentimes you'll go to the range, you'll shoot all day, and then you'll have your MREs. MREs are these packaged meals. And there's no real place to wash your hands or be hygienic. So oftentimes you'll go from shooting to cleaning your rifle to eating. So I'm sure I ate a bunch of lead and heavy metals. On top of this, there was a third enemy that I had to face. In basic training and the AIT, you have this thing called a camelback. It's like a backpack that you wear which contains a pouch which has water inside. It has a hose through which you can drink the water. So it gives your hands freedom to handle stuff, but you can still get water quite easily. That's why you're always required to wear it. We had this brilliant idea that we would take our electrolyte packets from our MREs, dump it into the pouch on our backs, and then get electrolyte water through our hose. What happened we didn't realize was the electrolytes had sugar in it. It's not a problem in this case, except for the fact that it allowed mold to grow in that hose that we drank from. Just on a whim, I decided I was going to clean my camelback. Most people never did this. So I took a pipe cleaner and shoved it into the hose just to see how dirty it was. When I took it out, it was just black, completely black with mold. And I had been drinking water out of this hose for months at that point. So to speak about mold toxicity, I think I'm quite an expert in being toxified by mold. Once I got done with all this, I had the terrible brain fog that I mentioned. I just could not focus. Also, my allergies were absolutely flared up. And I had all these plans. In basic training, I had journaled almost every single day, and I had this plan for the life that I wanted to create for myself. But I could not execute on it because my health was holding me back. That's where Zeolites come in. When I learned about Zeolites, I learned that they were a detox tool. So what did I do? I just went to Amazon, bought the cheapest Zeolites, and then started taking 2 grams per day, 4 grams per day, 6 grams per day. I was laddering it up, which is what you're supposed to do with most supplements. But zeolites are not supplements. A dietary supplement supplements your diet. But a zeolite has no nutritional value. It's not a supplement. So the dosing structure which I used, which was the slow laddering up, was completely misguided and caused more problems than it solved. So I felt even worse because of the zeolites. In this video, I'm going to teach you why that paradoxical dosing structure works for zeolites, what zeolites are, how they work, whether they're right for you, and what you should look for in a zeolite product. And zeolites are top of mind for me because very recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was traveling a lot, back and forth 12-hour journeys, and in the process, I probably ate something bad, cold meat from a deli in an airport, things like this happen, and I just got terrible gut distress. Gut distress is just a fancy word. What really happened was I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like garbage, went to the bathroom, not thinking too much, and just absolutely heaved into the toilet bowl, just gripping on for dear life, like It was actual projectile. Luckily, I made it to the bathroom, but God, it was awful. I lost like 5 pounds in a day, and not in a good way, so it was not fun. Here's the thing. Usually you take days to recover from this, days to rehydrate, days to actually, for your body to fight the infection. But what I did was I had zeolites at my home, and I took a mega dose, 20 grams, one time. And then the next day I felt normal, like completely normal, like nothing had happened the previous day. And that just goes to show you how much of a powerful detox tool zeolites can be. Now, if you haven't had the same life experience as me, you're not exposed to toxins in the same way as me, but you are still exposed to toxins. If you live in an older home, guaranteed you're going to be exposed to lead piping and lead paint. If you've eaten at any restaurant ever, you're going to be exposed to aluminum cookware, which is what all restaurants use to cook their food. Arsenic is in the groundwater, so even if you have a well in the middle of nowhere, quite a good chance that there's arsenic in your water unless you've tested it and made sure that that's not the case. Glyphosate is a common, essentially a herbicide used in agriculture, seeps into the groundwater, it seeps into our drinking water. If you eat fast food or frozen foods, you're going to be exposed to a lot of heavy metals toxicity. Canned food and fish are a source of mercury. And then if you're using non-aluminum free deodorants, you're for sure being exposed to aluminum. And finally, all these heavy metal toxicities, they do have a way of interacting with your genetic material, which means that you can pass on the damage from these toxins to your future generations. So this is something we certainly want to avoid. If you're feeling fatigued, brain fogged, and just tired all the time, and you can see that he has these bags under his eyes, if that's you, it's not what we want. So the first thing we talked about is the heavy metal toxicity. But another problem commonly faced is ammonia buildup. So as you live and just having natural chemical reactions in your body, ammonia is produced, and that's normal. But if you have an ammonia buildup, that causes brain fog because ammonia can actually travel through the blood-brain barrier and enter the brain and disrupt, well, of course, the brain functioning. It specifically disrupts GABA, which is one of the key neurotransmitters for sleep. So I'm going to go ahead and draw some worry lines, but ammonia also messes with mitochondrial function. The mitochondria produces ATP. Everybody knows mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It produces ATP through something called the Krebs cycle. Ammonia can disrupt this cycle. So I'm going to give our Jack kind of an unhappy expression and even some drool because he's just brain fog, he's confused, he cannot put his plans into action. On top of this, if you get sick often, or if you have allergies, you also have a histamine buildup. Histamine is a byproduct of an allergic reaction. It's just your immune system overreacting or even normally reacting. You will produce histamine. So if you have allergies or sickness, you have histamine buildup on top of the heavy metal buildup. And I should also put in the ammonia. And how's your digestion? That's his stomach. And as you can see, it's just bubbling up with all kinds of indigestion. You have gut toxicity issues, you have constipation, you can also have diarrhea on the other side. This is not where we want to be. Also want to draw some flies because bad gut health just results in bad overall health outcomes across the board. You are not going to be able to succeed at your business, at your career, at being productive and focused and actually making a step in life if you have gut toxicity or any of these other buildups. Now, what's the dream outcome? Where do we want to be? We want to have a nose that's 100% functional. We want to have eyes that are clear and free of any kind of allergic reaction. We want to have a deep and resonant voice with which to communicate our ideas. We want to have long, luscious locks, making us look handsome. We want to have a big old neck for our strength. Let me finish out his other eye. There we go. That's what we want to be. We need a clear set of actionable steps, and that is what I'm going to be providing. I'm going to show you how zeolites work, how the dosage works, how to find good products, and how to get same-day benefits. And all of this completely unsponsored. I'm not making any money by selling you any products. How does toxin buildup even work? So it's like this. Imagine this is your body, B-O-D-Y. You have toxin coming in. You also have toxin leaving, since your body is pretty good at removing toxin. Now the problem is, if your level of toxin intake exceeds the level at which your body can remove toxin, then you are going to have a buildup of toxin with time. So we can do one of two things. We can either start to eliminate toxins entering, which is certainly a good idea, but in this video we are speaking of how to increase the outflow of toxin using zeolites. So if you do this, you will reduce the level of toxin buildup. This is what's called a stock and flow diagram. This is a stock and these are flows. This is just a basic introduction to how system theory works, and I will get much more into depth in other videos. So why should you listen to me? Well, I'll put the credibility stack in the description, where really my experience comes from running Crusade Labs, a functional health practice designed to help men become the most productive and focused versions of themselves. And I accomplish this using hormone optimized training. But to be clear, I'm not a medical doctor and this is not medical advice. So let's get started. So what are zeolites? Zeolites are volcanic ash. This is a volcano spewing out ash, but the ash has fallen into a lake. and this lake contains alkaline water. And if this is allowed to react for 50,000 years, what you end up with is a zeolite. But why are zeolites special? Zeolite. Zeo means steam and lithos means rock. So a rock which has steam inside. What does this mean? So the guy who discovered it, what he did was he heated the stone, and in so doing, he saw that steam was released, which is a very strange phenomenon. Why this happens is because the zeolite itself has porous structures. It has all these little cavities in the structure which can trap water. So upon heating, this water is released as steam. This is very important because it's these cavities that give zeolites their unique properties. So different zeolites have different properties based on the shape, size, and charge of the pores in its structure. Zeolites are made of aluminium, silica, and magnesium, but it traps mercury, arsenic, lead, and cadmium. And like I said before, it also traps histamine. On top of this, it also traps ammonia. So theoretically, if your body has a reduced load of heavy metals, histamines, and ammonia, you're going to solve your brain fog problem. And the reason why it's able to attract these heavy metals is because zeolite has a slight negative charge, and these ions are all positive charge. And it's able to trap them because of the cavities and the pores. Now the thing is, not all positively charged ions are toxic. For example, if you take a supplement, like if you take a electrolyte supplement, you're going to have sodium, you're going to have magnesium, you're going to have calcium, you're going to have potassium. All these are positive ions, but they're good for you, they're electrolytes. In other words, zeolites selectively traps the bad stuff and leaves the good stuff alone. It does this because, again, it's a selective binder. And this is actually in contrast to other binders like activated charcoal. Activated charcoal will just capture anything. Zeolites are interesting because of the selective binding property that they have. In fact, this is not a big secret. Farmers know about this. Farmers feed zeolites to their cattle in order to protect them from ammonia toxicity. A lot of farms use ammonia to fertilize their grasses. So if a cow or cattle eats grasses which are ammonia-based fertilizers in them, then they're going to have ammonia build up in their bodies. Not good for them. So they feed them with zeolites in order to eliminate the ammonia toxicity. On the other side, chickens fed with grains are exposed to aflatoxins, so farmers feed them with zeolites to remove aflatoxins from their bodies. And what's true for chickens and cattle is also true for the human body. In fact, most zeolites are not used as a human consumptive supplement. It's actually more used in agriculture and in the industry. It's a hugely beneficial substance for chemical processing. In fact, they literally use zeolites to clean up nuclear waste. In a place like Chernobyl, they literally use zeolites to clean up the nuclear spill. If you're watching this, it's clear that you're invested in improving your health. It's clear that you want to fix your brain fogs, gut issues, whatever else you might be facing in order to live a better life. If this is you, your first step in fixing your health has to be getting your blood work done. Getting blood work done provides you the roadmap on what you need to do next. But getting blood work is a pain because first, there's a million biomarkers to choose from. It's not clear which ones you need. And the second is once you get your results back, it's hard to know what the numbers actually mean. We will actually help you to solve this for free. Me and my team are certified in functional blood chemistry analysis. If you fill out the form below, we will be able to help you. And now we're going to move into the tactical side of how you should actually use the zeolites. So here's a graph of dosage versus time. Most supplements, especially supplements which you're not sure of, supplements which are new to you, you'd want to start out small, see how your body tolerates it, and then go to a healthy stasis amount and then maintain that. With the zeolites, it's quite the opposite. So this I'm going to rate as normal subs. So this could be something like creatine, this could be something even more exotic like methylene blue, but that's how you should treat most supplements. But with zeolites, it's actually like this. And the reason for this is because zeolites work using a swap and drop mechanism. And I'll explain that using an analogy. Imagine you were living in a home and you notice there's a bunch of mercury vials in your basement. You're like, I don't want these toxins in my house. I'm going to take them outside. So you go down to your basement, grab this mercury, and you're on the way out to the exit to dispose of this. But on the way, you just see a pile of lead on the floor. Like, okay, that's higher priority. And you look at that and you just drop the mercury, grab the lead, and take it out the exit. Now, taking the lead out the exit is the correct move. But in the process, you have dropped this mercury and spilled it across your floor. That's kind of how zeolites work. they just have shiny object syndrome. If they see something of higher priority, they will drop the thing which they're carrying and pick up the higher priority molecule. This is not good because you don't want to drop the mercury on the floor. It would have been better if the mercury was just safely sequestered in the basement. And so it is with your body. So what does the good look like? Good looks like it's just not you. You and you have a team of 5 buddies who are right behind you, so that if you do drop the mercury, they pick that up and you can pick up the lead and take it outside. Basically what I'm saying is a small dose of zeolite will actually do more harm than good because you're accidentally taking out the toxins from storage and just releasing them into the body. Not good. What you need is a big army of zeolites ready to capture all the toxins and take it all out on the same day, which is why you want to start with high dosage and go with low dosage. Now again, I want to make the disclaimer that I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice. Use your own research. And how do I know this? I know this because I made the same mistake. As soon as I got out of the army, I tried the zeolites, but I did this supplementation regime instead of how you're supposed to do it for zeolites. So in terms of exact numbers, what I would do right now is 10 grams of zeolite every day for 7 days. And how you use it is you take your zeolite powder, put it into clean water with a wooden spoon, this is important, stir it up and then drink it. So 10 grams per day for 7 days is what I would do. Now there are special cases for zeolite use. For example, what I said is if you fall sick with an infection, then you want to absolutely nuke it, and I would go all the way up to 20 grams for a day. So how do I actually use zeolite? I don't consume zeolite year round. I use it on a need basis. When I feel more brain fog, when I feel an infection coming on, or when I've recovered from an infection, I will absolutely use zeolite. But it's not something I use day by day. Now I'm going to move to product recommendations. Before I do that, I want to just say that you can have zeolites any time of day, before or after food. It doesn't matter, it works the same. When you're looking for a product, you're looking specifically for clinoptilolite zeolite. That's the only kind of zeolite which is acceptable for human consumption. You want to look for third-party testing to make sure that they are free of impurities. Then you want to look for the ratio of silica to aluminum in the structure of the zeolite. You want at least 70%, preferably more. And finally, there are liquid zeolites in the market. I reject these. These just don't have enough of the actual zeolite to be effective. The powder form is far better. And then there's micronized versus milled. You're always looking for micronized zeolite over milled, because when you have milled zeolite, this is mostly for industrial purposes. This will shatter the cage-like structures in the zeolite. Micronized will keep those intact. And there you have it, a full rundown on how to use zeolites. But even so, the first step in health is still getting blood work done. And like I said before, we can help you with that. Just use the link in the description. And specifically, if you have histamines, if you have allergy problems going on right now, the previous video I made is specifically about that. It's going to help you. It's going to change your life if you have allergies. I want to leave you with a reminder. Being healthy in a sick society gives you an unfair advantage.